Hey guys, like I just said in my other one, I was going to do two movie reviews tonight to make up for lack of posting. We're going to review The Taking of Deborah Morgan, I believe it was. Checking my files now because I can't remember. Yeah, The Taking of Deborah Logan. Now that movie was very interesting and creepy, and I give it a 10 out of 10, definitely pretty horrifying. Now, as always, spoiler alert, if you have not seen the movie, do not listen to this review. I would highly recommend watching it. Things I liked. The acting. The acting was amazing in this movie. I cannot get over how fantastic it was from all these characters. Delving into Alzheimer's and dementia, for them to dive into that disease, even though that wasn't 100% what was going on with Deborah, it was a part of it, it was a factor of it, and it really does bring awareness and to light what can happen. My great grandmother had Alzheimer's, and a lot of people don't really understand it. And I mean, it's a horror movie, but delving into something like that is very, very interesting. Um, the setting, the scenery, the storyline, very, very good. Because, I mean, they did their research on what would be a good idea, basically. And right up till the end, I had no idea who had caused the death of the guy who had almost sacrificed all those girls to gain eternal life or whatever. Right up until the end, I had no idea who it was. And then when the neighbor friend, whose name escapes me, I'm sorry, it's been a couple of nights since I watched this movie. Um, right up till the end, when he finally said it was Deborah that killed that guy, I was blown away. I was honestly shocked. I was like, wait a minute. She's the one that ended him when the entire town was looking for him. There was a manhunt. Um, the visual scenes, especially when Deborah flips her shit and is possessed by this spirit of this evil entity, and she attacks people, or she breaks out in the hospital and all this stuff. Very awesome. I'm pretty sure that's thanks to the makeup department. Very, very cool visuals. um, I can't really think of any dislikes off the top of my head. I'm sure I will eventually, but right now I really can't. It's a very good story. um, is I really did like the ending. Basically, Deborah, possessed by this creature, takes the little girl down in the caverns where he committed these atrocities, and you think, oh, they saved this little girl by burning his remains. But in the end, you find out that he's possessed this little girl. He is this little girl he's taken over and is living in her body, which is a very interesting take, because a lot of the times in those kinds of movies, when it comes to children, the child escapes, or they're saved or whatever. But the fact of the matter is that this little girl is possessed by a spirit, and like the moment I realized that, I literally said out loud, I he possessed her. Like, like the news people are interviewing her because she had leukemia or cancer, and they're just so blown away by the fact that she's had a complete turnaround. And she looks to the camera as the interviewer is blah blah blahing. The camera zooms in on her, and she just looks at the camera and smiles the creepiest smile. And then at that moment, I looked at it, I said, oh my god, he's possessed her, he is living within her. Now, like I said, it was a very interesting perspective on a movie, and like I said, I don't have any dislikes about this movie. It was all around creepy, and not a bunch of gore. I mean, there was some death, there was some blood, but it wasn't an overabundance of gore, which is what I like in horror movies. I like slasher flicks. I love Jason and Freddy and all that good stuff, but sometimes you can overdo it with the gore. And this movie actually had a pretty good balance of supernatural possession, just the right amount of gore, just the right amount of intensity. And I mean, there were a few jump scares, but they weren't overabundantly jump scares. They weren't cheap. They weren't every 5 minutes. Um, like I said, I like how they put Alzheimer's in and factored it in with the spirit possessing her and her going crazy. And at first, like, her daughter and the news crew that has come to interview them, they don't know. At first they like, oh, it's her Alzheimer's, she's crazy, she's losing her mind, she's getting older. And then as they start to put two and two together, they're like, wait a minute here, this isn't normal, this something is seriously wrong, especially when the doctors start saying that she's showing signs of schizophrenia. um, all in all, I would highly recommend this movie. And that's really all I have to say about this one. Very, very interesting movie. Very interesting take on this kind of stuff. Um, yeah, as always, guys, stay creepy out there.